Hello, everybody. Welcome to Most Wanted Topics. I'm your host, Kevin the Tank. Along with me is Atomic Tommy. How you doing, Atomic Tommy?
Oh, I'm doing great. We're here. It's an exciting week because we kick off the bracket recaps.
That's right. It is a big show for you today. We are definitely in the heart of Most Wanted Madness season here in the month of March.
Yep.
And it is bracket time. So everybody, hey, we had great participation.
We
Atomic.
did.
Yeah, we beat last year's mark. I made a mistake. I said we had 45. We had 35 participants last year, and we had 42 this year.
Yes.
And thank you guys for participating. I hope you find this exercise a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This is meant to be fun, so if you lose your mind on it, don't take it so serious. It's all for good fun. You never know what the bracket busters are going to be. Only Atomic Tommy has that kind of inside knowledge.
True.
So we're going to break down here in just a second, but first we have to do some housekeeping, and we have to thank the Rock and Roll Express for coming out to the store last weekend.
Great guys.
Great guys. It was a lot of fun to hear the stories.
Yeah.
And they are, can you believe it, I'm not trying to call them old, but at their age to still be wrestling.
Yeah, they're active.
They're active. They're definitely not giving up, and I learned a lot. I had a great time. And those guys are a top-notch act, and
yes.
they treated the fans great. Boy, everybody felt so welcome. They signed autographs. Man, and again, what a line.
Yeah.
All the way.
Yep.
It was steady, the whole signing. I tell you what, great guys. If you ever get a chance to meet the Rock and Roll Express, or whenever you get a chance to, I highly recommend it. They are terrific fellas. So, Ricky and Robert, thank you so much for coming to Most Wanted Comics. It was a fun time, and I'll remember it forever. It was a great experience, a special childhood memory for me.
Yeah, awesome.
So thank you. So let's get in. It's time for the brackets. We had some big games going on.
We did.
Let's start. As you know, we model this after the basketball brackets that are going on in March. So Atomic Tommy, why don't you explain the divisions we went with this year?
Yeah. So different from basketball, it's not 64, it's 32. So we cut it in half just to make it a little bit easier. This year we tried something different. If you remember last year's bracket, it wasn't as organized as it is this year. I really made it a point to incorporate the divisions, right? If you really look at it, kind of your conferences in kind of a way. But here on the bracket, we really have four main divisions. Brute in that top left, martial arts right under it, top right, power and meta. So these are your super powered people. And on the bottom here, bottom right, tech. So characters that rely on technology foremost.
We hope this
for their power.
Easing the tension sometimes that people dealt with a loss on one of their guys.
Right. And, if you kind of look, like all the left side are more your human characters, and on the right side are more of your augmented characters. So again, I try to organize it. I try to make it so that every character, no matter who they are, is relatively scaled to one another. So any character on here could logically beat another, right? You don't have Superman against, Snake Eyes or somebody like that, right? Everybody here is relatively balanced, relatively scaled, to try and make things a little bit more coin flip, a little more 50-50, so you really don't know on any given fight who would win. There's a couple of things I have been requested by some particular individuals that we need receipts, okay? We need receipts, and we need to make sure this is understood.
Yeah, and we won't mention Dan's name for bringing it up.
We won't mention Dan's name for breaking it up. I mean, who would it be? I don't know. But, so we got to make it clear that every character fighting is pristine condition. They're not hurt. They have everything they need. Like, one of the questions asked was,
they're not studying for a math test.
Where's Aquaman? One of the questions brought up was, where's Aquaman fighting, right? You assume that Aquaman has water nearby and is able to use his power to the fullest extent. Assume, if we're talking about, which version of the character, assume it is the most commonly recognized version of the character, right?
Don't overthink it.
No like one-off feats or anything like that. So it's pretty standard. The characters, they know they're fighting. They don't know everything about their opponent, but they know who they're fighting. And I think that's all of the setup we really need to give.
Yeah, and don't overthink it. Get into the weeds. None of them have colds. They're not fighting pneumonia. They're
not fighting pneumonia. So, with all of that, let's get into the first matchup here: Bane versus Colossus. Winner of that being Bane. Now, you might be saying, how does Bane win? Well, Colossus is, of course, made of metal, right? That was a lot of people's reaction to that was, oh, Colossus is made of metal, so obviously Colossus wins. Well, I wouldn't be so sure. Bane not only is super strong on a base level, I mean, I think it's like 15, 20 tons he can lift, but he's also augmented slightly by the Venom. It boosts him. And he's just a better fighter than Colossus. I mean, if we look at just fighting ability, he was League of Assassins trained, gives Batman a run for his money. I mean, anybody. I mean, again, this is a guy that routinely beats up Batman, somebody known to be peak human. So
this first game, though, this first one was a letdown. It didn't even start off hot. I mean, Bane took him to the cleaners right away.
Well, Colossus, what you got to remember that Colossus is also not a swing out of the gates kind of a guy.
It wasn't. This match was over when it started. Unfortunately, it wasn't a good matchup.
This is just a classic like hero versus villain. Hero underestimated Bane, and Bane
whooped his ass.
Lands his punch again. And the other thing about Bane, you got to remember, Bane is a tactical fighter. Bane will make his hits count. He not only hit hard on Colossus, but hit precise.
When the second half started, Colossus looked like he was in the weed. He didn't want to go out there. The second half started. It was pretty much over. It was kind of immersed. I mean, it was so bad. Bane felt sorry for him. Okay.
And the one thing we have to remember about all of these brute matchups is just because they're durable or strong doesn't mean they're then immune to people as equally or even partially as strong as them. They can still take damage. They can still take hits. They're not immune, right? So keep that in mind for all these matchups. But yes, Bane wins match number one. Again, but that's another case where it could have really gone either way. These characters are not far apart from each other.
It just was a bad start off.
It was just a bad start for Colossus, and that's really all you can do.
It was a slow start.
Next, Luke Cage versus Kingpin. Some could say this was an upset. A lot of Luke Cage fans out here may not be happy because Kingpin takes this game. And a couple of things we have to preface off this. Luke Cage is more durable than Kingpin. I would say their strength is about equal most of the time. But obviously, Luke Cage has the bulletproof skin. Kingpin does not, right? But again, I think it's important to note that just because that character has bulletproof skin doesn't mean they're invulnerable from taking damage from somebody as strong as them. Especially a definition of a brute fighter like Kingpin. Kingpin is a walloper, okay? He's not going out there trying to land a quick 1-2 like maybe Luke Cage is. He's going out there trying to land and hit as many shots as he can, as hard as he can all the time. And even to somebody like Luke Cage, that's going to do a lot of damage because Luke Cage is forced into defense on that. I mean, Luke Cage, he has to defend because Kingpin's just coming out there swinging as hard as he can. Well, and again, equal strength.
Plus, Luke Cage let him get close.
Luke Cage let him get close.
Kingpin get close to you and smother you because he's such a big guy. So once you get enclosed, like I said, this is a true underdog story because everybody had their matchup on Luke Cage.
Yeah,
this was like Soda Popinski, and Mike Tyson, but you underestimate him. And this guy got in close. Kingpin got in real close. Luke Cage said he couldn't fight out of it. So when you get that guy's weight and the size of Kingpin, and he encloses you like that, you're a goner.
A lot of people like to stat farm and point to the stats, but at the end of the day, Luke Cage just couldn't keep up. Again, he let Luke Cage get in there, and it was just over with how he walloped.
Get too close.
They let Kingpin get too close. Sorry if I misspoke there.
No, that's okay. I got your back, bro.
I appreciate that. They let Kingpin get too close. So the next matchup, Beast versus Rhino. Okay, we have, Dan, a lot of Beast fans in the store now.
This one was an overtime.
Dan,
this one was a late nighter.
It was a late nighter.
This was a late nighter.
Was a huge advocate for Beast, maybe the biggest Beast fan I've ever seen going into these games.
He might be crying right now.
He might be crying, but he won't be, because Beast takes it over Rhino. This was one of those just sort of chalk games, higher character. It just is what it is. Pretty straightforward here. Rhino, obviously strong, has sort of the augmented abilities, and I'm saying augmented a lot, and I know a question might be rising, right? If they're augmented, why aren't they in the tech category? Well, it also comes down to their power set and ability. Rhino's more of a brute than, say, Cable would be.
Beast is more agile, which is why in the overtime, Rhino was pretty tired.
Rhino was pretty tired.
Beast wins it with a fadeaway jumper.
Beast wins it with a fadeaway jumper. And we have to remember, and this is brains over brawn, right? Beast not only is strong and durable, a semi-capable fighter. I think we'll have to see how Beast plays out in the later rounds, given that he's just not as good of a fighter as somebody like Bane or Kingpin, but he is far more intelligent than anybody else in this division, and that definitely helps win over somebody as, just shall we say,
Big Dumb Rhino.
Big Dumb Rhino, right? So it does come down to that.
Rhino took it the distance. Like I said, it was an overtime win. There was a lot of heavy breathing out of Beast when he was done. But
Rhino's not to be slept on, right? Let's not forget the Rhino is, again, challenges Spider-Man, a character too powerful for this bracket. So we can't count out Rhino here. It's just Beast had the advantage on this one.
He did. Like I said, it was a great ending in overtime, and he wins with a fadeaway.
The next matchup we got, a true Rocky going the distance upset, Drax versus Conan the Barbarian. Conan takes it home.
This was a street fight.
This was a street fight upset, guy. A lot of people bet on Drax. Obviously, the brute, mindless killing machine that just lives for conflict. Just incredibly skilled fighter going up against the human-based, peak human brute that is Conan the Barbarian, and Conan takes it home. And I think we have to remember about Conan is going in, he's had experience, right? He routinely deals with beasts, monsters, magical creatures stronger than him, and Conan's very similar to Bane in strength level, just at a baseline. I think his is like 10 or 15 tons. The strength of 20 fully grown strong men is kind of Conan's level here. And again, routinely fighting off mythical, just insane creatures beyond him and winning. And I think that really helped him go up against somebody like Drax, who's just kind of too mindless for the fight. He's not thinking it through like Conan is, and Conan's able to take advantage.
He definitely wasn't a smart fighter in this one. What can you say? Conan, he also knows the Dewey Decimal System. That's
that's right.
Come on now.
But Conan takes it home, and now we move in to our martial arts category, with our first matchup being Deathstroke and Iron Fist. This was definitely a watched game. A lot of people had their eyes on this one.
The Las Vegas odds makers definitely had their hand in for sure.
Deathstroke takes it home. What we have to remember is that Iron Fist, while an extremely capable fighter, one of the best in the Marvel universe, obviously with the Kunlun fist powers, all that kind of good stuff. Deathstroke also healing factor, super strength, basically Captain America if he was a decked out assassin. Again, League of Assassins trait, all of that stuff, healing factor. It just outmatches Iron Fist in every way, because every time Iron Fist lands a punch, Deathstroke heals.
This should have been a no-brainer. This was over. This is just a normal flow of a game.
And, a lot of people had their money on Iron Fist here, and I respect that. But it's just the Fist, if
you're a former bookie, you're definitely collecting on this one.
Yeah.
If you know what that's like out there for former bookies, you're definitely collecting on this one. But every time
Iron Fist swings with that fist, it's dodged. He's sliced. He gets a hit right back from Deathstroke. Deathstroke at the end of the day is just the better fighter, the more tactical fighter.
Yeah, this was a good game, but it wasn't exciting. It was a good game, but it wasn't overly exciting. It was just Deathstroke wins it. Okay, so that's what it was.
Deathstroke takes it. Moving on here, Elektra versus X-23. Again, a pretty chalk matchup here. X-23 obviously gives Elektra, a good fight, but ultimately Elektra can't keep up and X-23 takes it. Elektra, I mean, again, we can't sleep on Elektra here, right?
No, she just ran out of gas.
She just ran out of gas. And again,
second half was tough for her.
We're dealing with these martial artists with healing factors, right? Regenerative capabilities. Elektra, great fighter. Again, routinely gives characters like Daredevil, Wolverine, even Spider-Man runs for their money, and on a tough fight even beats them on occasion. But we are going up against a just as capable, Wolverine here. So X-23 takes it. Again,
X-23 was the dominant
one of those fights that everybody it was a very one-sided bet, and that one side delivered. Next fight, Snake Eyes versus Black Widow. An interesting matchup, piqued a lot of people's interest.
It did. This one was one to watch.
This one was one to watch. Black Widow, I mean, you don't really need to say a whole lot about Black Widow and her capabilities. Snake Eyes, a trained expert ninja. I mean, similar to that of
Ninja versus Black Ops
Deathstroke.
Spy.
Just as capable as somebody like Deathstroke, Elektra, or Iron Fist without those superpowers, and going up against somebody with, like Black Widow. And unfortunately, Black Widow just can't keep up. Black Widow just is outfought by Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes takes it.
It was. It was a good round. It was a good game. A good matchup all around. It was entertaining, and it was a good one.
Next up, the final matchup in this left side of the bracket here. Last Ronin Michelangelo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series spinoff, The Last Ronin, versus Clint Barton Ronin. Now, this was an interesting matchup because there were some setups here that people were wanting to happen. I mean, people were looking for Black Widow versus Clint Barton in that round too, but unfortunately, just not how it played out, right? Both of those characters got eliminated by their independent counterparts, and Michelangelo just takes it. And I think it's pretty obvious, right? Michelangelo being a turtle, right? An older turtle with way more experience, maturity, and skill.
Got a hell of a shell on him.
He got a hell of a shell on him. We can give him that. And just Ronin, again, we can't count out Clint Barton here, but going up against a turtle, just not a lot you can do there, And
no, a mutant turtle.
Mutant turtle, again, expert fighter, just was kind of one-sided, let a lot of people down on that betting there. But we now move over to our power meta section. A lot of interesting things going on here. I want to say a lot of the left side here is pretty chalk, pretty normal, right? But once you get onto the right side here, I think is where a lot of the contention is going to come from the participants in the bracket here.
This may cause a kerfluffle with some of you out there, but you know what? Nonetheless, these were great matchups all around.
Going up here, first matchup, Aquaman versus King Shark. We have King of the Sea versus the Shark of the Sea, right? And obviously Aquaman wins, right? This is a pretty standard matchup. Aquaman took some hits, took some damage, and that damage, we'll see if that hurts him or helps him against Namor. But we will see.
Well, King Shark took a bite out of him. We'll see how that affects him.
King Shark took a bite out of him, but Aquaman, being Aquaman, was able to take care of the shark. So moving on here, next round.
It was the spear through the nose, that guy.
Yeah, it was a spear to the nose. Yeah, disoriented King Shark. Next up, Black Panther versus Namor. This is a classic rematch. That again, a lot of people had their eyes on this one, and Namor takes it home. What we have to remember about Namor is that his strength and fighting capability way outmatches Black Panther. Now, Black Panther's not to be slept on here. Again, the mystical powers giving him that increased agility, strength, all that stuff. But Namor, again, very similar to Aquaman, King of the Sea.
An underrated character in Marvel.
A way underrated character in Marvel is Namor. I mean, his, again, strength, almost unknown how strong he really is. Again, water manipulate, all of that stuff that comes along with being that King of Atlantis. At the end of the day, realistically, just cannot be kept up with by Black Panther. So Namor takes it, and in the round two, we have probably the matchup of the
Well, hold on,
games
the
here.
way that Namor dragged Black Panther into the water.
Yeah, I mean, it was like
no match. It was partially drowning plus getting your ass whooped. It was just.
And
it's
now
incredible.
we have Aquaman versus Namor in the round 2. But before we get to that, we have to keep going here. Next up, Magic versus the Helverine. We have Daughter of the Demons versus a Demon Wolverine, right? It does not get more badass than a Ghost Rider-esque Wolverine. And, you know, while Magic has her connections and her powers derived from Hell, Helverine is literally from Hell, gets his powers directly from the source, is a literal ghost demon embedded with Wolverine. Nothing Magic can do can really hurt Helverine that much, because I mean it'd be like fire hitting fire, you know what I mean? It just doesn't work as effectively. Yeah, Magic tried to send Helverine straight back to Hell a couple of times, but he's just too agile, he's too quick. He saw it coming, and Magic just couldn't keep up, unfortunately, and loses round 1 to Helverine. This is a bracket buster for a lot of people. A lot of people had Magic going all the way.
Yeah, this is gonna hurt. If you had Magic,
it's gonna hurt. But again, at the end of the day, it's a Wolverine. It's a demon Wolverine against somebody with very similar demon-like connections, and it just does not go Magic's way most of the time.
No.
Next up, John Constantine versus Hellboy. Again, a bracket buster here because John Constantine takes it home.
Yep.
And you might be saying, well, how is this happening? I mean, this is where we're going to see some backlash here, because Hellboy way stronger, obviously, way better fighter, way more durable. But what we have to understand about John Constantine is he routinely deals with demons. How to exercise them, how to send them back, how to disorient and sort of just paralyze them from being able to attack, because John Constantine's not a fighter. He doesn't have any fighting ability. He's just a regular guy with expert magic knowledge and all of that kind of good stuff. And he's able to throw a couple of quick spells on Hellboy and just debilitate him, reduce his strength, reduce his power, reduce his awareness, and quickly knock him out, send him back to hell. So unfortunately, Hellboy does get knocked out here by the expert magician, expert magic user, John Constantine, who's, again, another case of experience really helping him here. I mean, if this was like a one-time thing where it's his first time ever dealing with somebody like Hellboy, it probably would have gone Hellboy's way, but no, John Constantine had the experience to keep him alive. Moving on here, next matchup. Into the tech category now, we have Spider-Man 2099 versus Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes. And again, Blue Beetle, extremely powerful, extremely underrated. That scarab grants him tons and tons of alien technology and augments that really rival any tech-based character on here. But we have to remember we're dealing with a futuristic Spider-Man. Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, with similar abilities as Spider-Man, right? Strength, durability, speed, agility, augmented by 2099 level technology. And again, it really just rivals at a base level anything Blue Beetle can dish out, just given that he is a future Spider-Man. And he's just able to take him down, just being a better fighter and able to dish up and quickly retaliate against anything the Scarab would throw at Spider-Man 2099. So Spider-Man 2099 takes that home. Next matchup, Iron Man versus Batman Beyond. Another bracket buster for a lot of people here, because a lot of people had Iron Man. Iron Man's not a force to be reckoned with. Obviously, his suits are incredible and their powers and what they allow him to do. Incredible technology. But Batman Beyond, from the future, a technologically augmented Batman with increased strength, agility, speed, all that kind of stuff. Basically, you're taking normal Batman and dialing him up with technological augments, with an older, experienced Bruce Wayne in your ear guiding you at all times. Batman Beyond is not somebody to be underestimated with that obvious Bruce Wayne advantage that he has at all times. And Iron Man just can't keep up against it. So Iron Man takes it down. And again, I want to reemphasize with Iron Man, this is just standard Iron Man, okay? A normal suit. We're not like God Armor Iron Man here, or Superior Iron Man, or Extremis Iron Man. No, this is just regular Iron Man, okay? Nothing crazy he's brought. So it's just Batman Beyond versus Iron Man. And Batman Beyond takes it home. Next matchup here, Winter Soldier Bucky versus Cable. A lot of people bet on Bucky, but unfortunately Cable takes it home. But we have to remember how Cable is, he has incredible psychic abilities, right? Inherited from his genealogy and his mutation as a mutant. Cable not only is from the future and has that augmented strength and durability that comes with the technology he has, he also just has better weaponry than Bucky. Is, again, almost brute-like in his fighting ability that rivals and allows him to get close and just debilitate Bucky in a fist fight. But again, we're also dealing with that slight mutation edge of the psychic and telekinetic abilities that allow him to gain an upper hand in this fight against Bucky. Obviously, Winter Soldier, expert, a great fighter, has the arm just like Cable, but Cable's from the future. Cable has the technology, and he's able to bring it home. Next match, final match of this round here, Punisher versus Judge Dredd. This is an upset, I think, because going in, I thought Judge Dredd had this one. I really did. I mean, from the future, again, augmented, very similar to Cable, but loses to the Punisher. The Punisher just out, and the thing of Judge Dredd has better guns, better weapons, better technology, but Punisher just mag dumps him the whole time.
Punisher endured. I mean, he outlasted him. I mean,
he really did. And again, Punisher just straight up went in there, constantly mag dumping him, just not even caring at all about what if he lived, if he got hit, whatever. He just wanted to take him down. And it surprised Judge Dredd, knocked him off his feet. Judge Dredd couldn't really retaliate and was taken down by the Punisher.
He is the law.
He is the law.
The Punisher beat the law.
Punisher beat the law. So with that concludes round one. Punisher with the upset. Stay tuned to next week as we get into the Sweet 16.
Sweet 16 next week. It's going to be exciting. Man, what a first round.
I know.
It was great. It was exciting. It had everything. It had overtime. It had flair. It was exciting matchups. And there's going to be some people that are happy. Some people are disappointed.
You want to yell at me? Feel free.
Feel free to comment.
But the matchups are the matchups. We don't control how it plays out.
Hey, we don't know how they come to play. So, we don't control that. But you know what? Let us know. If you like what you're seeing, smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And also, give us your comments. You love it or hate it, but this bracket is really fun. I hope you're having a good time so far following along. So make sure you mark your points. It's 2 points for a win. So as you can kind of keep track of how you're doing so far into the scoring. And next week is the Sweet 16. So we're going to have fun with that next week. Let's take care of some housekeeping now. Atomic Tommy, The Flash, that you were waiting for this book to come out. Absolute Flash came out. We sold a ton of copies. What did you think of Absolute Flash?
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I was a little disappointed, and not by the story itself, right? This was probably honestly the weakest start to an Absolute title, just because it's slower. It requires more scope, more releases, more time to be able to fully gauge how this Flash will be, what kind of Flash they're cooking up here, and just the kind of story that's being told, because unlike Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, where you got not only an introduction into the world, but also an introduction into the kind of character, the kind of Batman, the kind of Superman, the kind of Wonder Woman we would be seeing, we don't really get that here, because Wally doesn't become the Flash really until the very, very end of this issue. So we don't really see anything Flash related. What I will say is that I really liked how they incorporated Wally's speed into his almost teenage anxiety. I thought that was a really cool change. But at the end of the day, what I really didn't like about it, spoilers, that they killed off Barry Allen in the first issue. The disrespect that's been shown to Barry Allen recently is unparalleled. I mean, from losing his powers to being constantly shown up and constantly sad all the time, and then he like comes back just to get like told how like much better of a Flash Wally is than him, and then he just gets written off again. And it's just, and then he comes back and he loses his powers and he's not even in the Flash title anymore. And then he comes back for Absolute Flash, which I was hoping would be kind of a new take on the character in a different kind of mentorship role, a mentor to Wally or something like that, but not specifically the Flash. But no, he just comes up and he just straight up dies. So I don't like that. I think that's kind of, I just think it's disrespectful to the character. But anyway, Absolute Flash, we have to see where it goes. I'll circle back on it next week and with an official rating because I have to let it simmer for a little bit.
Now we have we've got some new books coming out this week to look forward to. We'll see what Atomic Tommy can poo-poo on this week when it comes out. Let's see. We got Amazing Spider-Man number 70 coming out. And of course, I bet you're happy about this because this is the end of the line for
it really is.
Spider-Man.
I'm really happy. I'm excited.
Final issue for that one coming out. I'm sure Atomic Tommy is not disappointed about that. Let's go Batman number 158. Man, this is Hush 2 now. This is part of the series.
The kickstart.
The kickstart of Hush number 2. We have a lot of people subscribe for
Hush
that one.
2, yeah.
Yeah, Hush 2 is going to be good. And then the Absolute version, Martian Manhunter. I know people are looking forward to this one, but every Absolute title's been kicking butt, so I'm sure this one won't be any less of a take-home for people because people love the Absolute series. They've just been killing it with DC there. So that is what you have to look forward to coming out this week, everybody. Absolute Martian Manhunter is what I'm going to be reading and taking up. I can't wait to read that one. So yeah, with that being said, it is time for Shoutouts. Shoutouts. Matt and JD, as always, welcome aboard and thanks for following along today. Dan, the Amazing Spider-Man fan, thank you, of course, for supporting us. We appreciate it. Dean and Jimmy and Jamie, hey girl, how you doing out there? David, a.k.a. Superman fan, love to have you follow along. I hope you're having fun with the bracket, buddy. Caleb, thank you for always following us. Mark, and hi, Mark, Aquaman fan. Brian, and Brian, Jeff, Ryan, Jim, Liz, Rick, and Melissa. How the hell are you guys? Thanks for following along. Hope you're having fun out there. Sydney, Pat, Liz, Eli. Shout out to you, Eli. Rick, and then Shanice and Larry. We have the shout outs this week. So if you want to be part of the shout outs, make sure you email in and want to be a part of the shout outs. We will be happy to add you to the list of people who email in this week and want to be on it. So with that being said, it was a busy week. It was a full show today. Yep. We look forward to next week going over the Sweet 16. So, yeah, make sure you comment and let us know what you think so far. We're happy to hear about it. So, with that, everybody, have a great week, and we will see you next week.